Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. Metro Manila mayors will recommend extending the general community quarantine classification for the National Capital Region until February. Metro Manila Council Chairman and Makati City Mayor Edwin Olivares said all members of the council have agreed that the NCR should remain under GCQ next month. Olivares said the GCQ extension in Metro Manila is a precaution against the presence of the United Kingdom COVID-19 variant in the country. The MMC chairman said granular lockdowns will be imposed in areas where there is a clustering of cases. Olivares also said that the MMC decided to keep the age restriction of those allowed outside their homes at 15 to 65 following President Rodrigo Duterte's order. Vaccine Char Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. agreed with the proposal of the MMC, saying it was a correct judgment. The Food and Drug Administration has granted an emergency use authorization for the COVID-19 vaccine developed by British drug maker Astrazeneca. AstraZeneca's vaccine was the second to be approved for emergency use in the Philippines. The first was that developed by Pfizer-BioNTech. The FDA's approval comes 3 weeks after AstraZeneca submitted its application for an EUA. FDA Director General Rolando Enrique Domingo said that the adverse events reported when given an AstraZeneca vaccine are mostly mild to moderate, which is similar to common vaccine reactions. This vaccine is authorized for use in people 18 years and older. Domingo added that it can be kept at a regular refrigerator temperature. He also noted that the vaccines cannot be sold commercially. Domingo said that the validity of the EUA is only within the duration of the declared public health emergency due to COVID-19 or upon marketing authorization. He said that the FDA is still reviewing the EUA applications of Russia's Gamaleya Research Institute, China's Sinovac Biotech, and India's Bharat Biotech. Residents in Luzon may expect chilly weather in the next few days due to the fresh surge of northeast monsoon or amihan. In its weather forecast on Thursday, Pag-asa said the amihan may bring cloudy skies with rains over Albay, Catanduanes, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Sorsogon, Masbate, Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan. Residents in these areas were advised to take extra precaution in case flooding or landslides occur caused by moderate and at times heavy monsoon rains. The amihan may also bring light rains in Batanes and Babuyan Islands and isolated light rains in Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon. Monsoon rains, however, may not have a significant impact over the rest of Luzon. Starting September 30, mobile phone users can switch networks or change their subscription without having to change their numbers. The National Telecommunications Commission disclosed during a Senate hearing on Wednesday that the Mobile Portability Act, or Republic Act number 112002, will be fully implemented by telecommunication companies effective September 30, 2021. Smart Vice President for Legal and Regulatory Group Roy Ibay said that based on their revised timetable, their interoperability testing will be conducted in June, and the full commercial launch of the mobile portability will be on September. Smart Communications, Globe Telecom, and Dito Telecommunity, the country's mobile phone network providers, had earlier entered into a joint venture and formed the consortium Telecommunications Connectivity Incorporated to implement the mobile number portability law. Under the RA 11202, signed by President Duterte in February 2019, mobile services subscribers may keep their existing mobile numbers if they switch networks or the mode of the subscription services from prepaid to postpaid and vice versa. Telcos are prohibited from locking in mobile devices to their respective network, regardless whether the device is sold as a unit or under a service contract. The subscribers also do not have to pay a fee should they decide to retain their mobile numbers. The law also removes interconnection fees charged to subscribers for calling or texting across different networks. In Metro News, Mandaluyong City conducts COVID-19 vaccination simulation. Makati City ramps up vaccination campaign to include even non-residents who are working in the city. And more small businesses get help from Muntinlupa City Government. More from this report.
The Mandaluyong City Government conducted the COVID-19 vaccination simulation Wednesday at Pedro P. Cruz Elementary School to trace out possible issues once vaccines arrived in the city. Around 20,000 Mandaluyong City residents have pre-registered for the city's vaccination program. Last January 11, Mandaluyong City inked a tripartite agreement with British-Swedish pharmaceutical firm Astrazeneca and the national government for the procurement of vaccines against COVID-19. The city plans to inoculate 330,000 residents. Makati City Government is ramping up its free vaccination campaign against COVID-19 among all workers in the city, regardless if they are residents or not, according to City Mayor Abigail Binay. The local chief also said that while the city is ready in vaccinating its constituents and is just waiting for vaccines to arrive, to convince people to be inoculated is still biggest challenge in its vaccination plan. She assured that the city is fully ready from pre-vaccination to post-vaccination. The city government has allotted 1 billion for the purchase of COVID-19 from the inoculation of its citizens. An additional 51 local micro-entrepreneurs received zero-interest loans from the Muntinlupa City Government to tide them over the amid ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Mayor Jaime Fresnedi turned over 938,000 loan assistance to 51 micro, small, and medium enterprise owners as part of the city's government Tulong Negosyo program. Among them, 2 entrepreneurs received 100,000 each and another got 75,000. Muntinlupa is the first local government unit to introduce a microfinancing program to help small businesses. Tulong Negosyo provides microfinance assistance ranging from 2,000 up to 150,000 depending on the business capital ceiling and payment record of beneficiaries. The program gives additional capital for business expansion for aspiring and established business owners in Muntinlupa.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. 826 earthquakes detected in Mount Pinatubo. Pasig City in Iloilo Province returns to ECQ after recording more than 100 coronavirus cases. And Zamboanga City Mayor notes rising suicide cases. Here are the details.
The Department of Science and Technology in Central Luzon has intensified its monitoring of Mount Pinatubo following a series of earthquakes that was detected in the area. According to the DOST in Region 3, a total of 826 imperceptible earthquakes were detected east-northeast of Mount Pinatubo in Mabalacat, Pampanga area. Although there is no threat yet from the recent earthquake activities, the communities and local government units near the volcano were alerted against future earthquakes and volcanic hazards. Mount Pinatubo erupted 29 years ago and killed hundreds of people. The city of Pasig in Iloilo will have a 2-week lockdown beginning today, January 28, after more than 100 new cases of coronavirus disease were recorded. Mayor Stephen A. Palmares asked for the residents' cooperation and understanding and explained that despite the unfavorable quarantine classification, the city needs to strictly implement guidelines so that the COVID-19 cases will not increase anymore. With a 2-week lockdown, only business establishments that provide food and water will remain open, but restaurants and food stalls will be closed. Health-related services such as hospitals, medical clinics, and pharmacies are allowed to open. Meanwhile, Pasig City's highway will remain open to vehicles passing by for those traveling between the provinces of Aklan, Capiz, and Iloilo. Zamboanga City Mayor Maria Isabel Climaco Salazar has acknowledged rising cases of suicides in the city, blaming it partly on the coronavirus disease pandemic. City police reported that 10 people, mostly men, have committed suicide since January 1 this year. Some of the victims were students, farmers, and unemployed individuals. Mayor Climaco Salazar also called on the parents to always guide their children and ask to help one another to learn to address depression and frustrations. The mayor also added that there should be a balance of recreation and, most importantly, faith in the Almighty.
In world news, Republican senators oppose Trump impeachment. Swiss to spend $1 billion on asymptomatic COVID-19 testing. And dramatic shark decline leaves gaping hole in ocean, according to a study. Let's watch this report.
U.S. Democrats' effort to convict Donald Trump at his impeachment trial suffered a fresh blow Tuesday when almost all Republican senators backed dismissing the case, underlining the former president's continuing hold over the party. The motion failed after all 50 Democrats and only 5 Republicans in the Senate did not support the push to throw out the case before the trial has begun. The result confirmed Democrats will struggle to persuade 17 Republican senators, the number needed for the required 2/3 majority to vote to convict Trump. The House of Representatives on Monday presented a single article of impeachment to the upper chamber accusing Trump of inciting the storming of the Capitol earlier this month, setting in motion the first ever impeachment trial of a former president. The trial of Trump, who was impeached by the Democratic majority House for an unprecedented second time, is to begin the week of February 8. Switzerland said Wednesday it was prepared to spend more than $1 billion on testing for asymptomatic COVID-19 cases, saying they were probably responsible for most new infections. Health Minister Alain Berset said that the government would assume the estimated cost of around 1 billion Swiss francs or $1.2 billion of testing people who are not showing coronavirus symptoms. The wealthy Alpine nation of 8.6 million people has registered more than 515,000 cases during the pandemic and nearly 8,500 deaths. The epidemiological situation is improving slowly, according to the government, but it added that it remains greatly concerned by the number of cases of the new virus variants, which accounted for 10% of positive tests last week, a percentage that is doubling each week. Overfishing has savaged population of some sharks and rays by more than 70% in the last half-century, leaving a gaping, growing hole in ocean life according to a new study. Decades of data show an alarming decline in species ranging from hammerhead sharks to manta rays. Among the worst affected is the ocean white tip, a powerful shark often described as particularly dangerous to man that now hovers the edge of extinction because of human activity. The study published Wednesday in the journal Nature points that the finger of overfishing weak protection and calls for tighter restrictions and better implementation of existing rules. The researchers know the species can stage a comeback when conservation efforts are made, so losses are not always irreversible.
In entertainment, the popular romance fantasy South Korean series Hotel de Luna is set for a musical adaptation. The series will be remade into a stage musical by 2022. The musical remake is garnering attention for how it will reproduce the drama's fantastical elements and the relationship between the two main characters. Hotel de Luna follows the story of Jang Mang-wol, the owner of the mysterious hotel which serves the spirits. She was cursed to live forever as a consequence to a crime she did years ago. However, things took an interesting turn when Chan Sung was hired to be the hotel manager. He was forced to manage the hotel because of a deal his father made with a man or with Manhwol in the past. The Korean drama soundtrack featured artists like 10cm, Gummy, Taeyeon, Chung Yaha, and Red Velvet, among others. In sports, Rising junior player Alex Aala continued to make heads turn in the International Tennis Federation World Tennis Tour after stunning her seeded rival in the second leg of the W15 Manacor event in Spain late Wednesday. 3 days after capturing her first pro title, the 15-year-old Philippine bet shocked second seed Mirjam Bjorklund in the opening round. The victory extended Ayala's winning run to 6 matches since ruling the first leg over the weekend. It also arranged her a second round meeting with Spaniard Alba Carrillo Marin. And those are the news on Web today, January 28, 2021. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph, or you may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.